We're going to be working on student engagement within science. And so Ms. Parker is going to start us off. She's going to talk about habitats of animals. Ms. Stern is going to transition us into the food chain. And then I'm going to work a little bit with plant and animal cells in relationship with that. Because we want to try to make a cross-curriculum connection for you guys with these. So you can see how the education activities from elementary school all the way through high school connect with one another. So without further ado, Ms. Parker is going to start us off.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to talk about animal habitats today. My student engagement will be focused around SOL 2.5, I believe. Okay, 2.5, living organisms are independent with their living and non-living surroundings. Okay, that's what we're going to focus on. What does an organism need in a habitat? Can anyone raise a hand? Yes, Ms. Ewing.
Food source.
Okay, a food source. Ms. McDonald. Water. Okay, water. Okay. Anyone else? Yes, me. Shelter. Okay, shelter. Okay, thank you. Okay, an organism needs shelter, water, and food. Okay, what is a habitat? Okay, a habitat is any place where organisms live together naturally. Okay, it is like a community in nature. Okay. This is the student engagement portion. Okay, now we're going to have an activity. I'm going to split you guys off into groups by animals. You're going to go to a corner according to your type of animal. So, for example, over here on the left, we have cats. On the right, others. And this wall back here, we have dogs. So if you like cats, please go to that corner. If you like dogs, please come back here. Others like fish, frogs, snakes, you will come over here to my right. Okay. Thank you, Ms. McDonald. Okay. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and sit with our partners. This is going to be your partner for this activity. So can you kind of grab a desk and sit next to your partner, a desk or a chair?
They don't need to necessarily stay in their corners. They can go to
right. You can find another area. Just keep your partner.
Probably with the desktop.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, you guys back here, you guys may find an area to sit. You need to sit down somewhere, please. Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay, what we're going to do now, okay, we are going to construct an animal. I'll wait. What we're going to do, we are going to construct an animal and habitat. Okay, you're going to have white paper and markers. Okay, you're going to draw a habitat for an animal, and you're going to use Play-Doh to construct any living creature. Okay, so I'm coming around with each group with paper and markers, and this is teamwork, guys. Teamwork.
Let's do the horse. That's going to be difficult.
Okay, I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes to come up with your picture. If you forgot the directions, it's on the smart board. What are you going to make?
She's making a fish and I'm making a horse.
No. You guys can choose your own animal. It's up to you. Be creative. Okay.
Miss Price.
This is not me, Sorry. Like an aquarium. Stress?
Oh, nice. I like. That looks just like a fish. Cool. Nice.
This is gonna be a turtle instead. Yeah. Like a turtle.
I think it would have rather made an act that would have drawn me in. I think that would have been easier.
Nice, Dr. James. I'm gonna give you guys about 2 more minutes. That is pretty cool. It looks just like a wagon. It's an eye.
I was trying to make it. Yeah, it was.
Cute. Uh-huh.
Oh, a little finny thing. I like turtles.
Looks good. Okay, guys, we have 41 seconds. Okay. When you hear the timer, please stop. Okay, I take it that everyone is done. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and have share time. Which group would like to go first? Any group? Okay. Ms. McDonald, your group, would you guys like to go first to share your habitat and animal?
This is Charlie, Charlie the cat, and he has a wonderful habitat complete with shelter and food, and he's got a water dish as well.
Nice. Good job. Looks good. Okay. Ms. Sykes, your group.
All right, so this is done in a hurry, but we have a field with a pond and some sun, so grass for the horse to eat and water for the drink. And we had a turtle, but he got stuck to the paper and got sort of massacred as we tried to get the paper out.
He's still here.
He's on the desk. You should be in the pond.
Super, super. Okay, this group back here.
We have an aquarium with fish So the aquarium is the shelter, and then obviously they have the water, and then they can be fed by their owners.
It looks really good. Good job, guys. Okay. Nice job. Okay. Thank you guys for sharing out. Okay, what about our habitat? Just like animals and plants, we need our own habitat. What are our needs? We need water, we need food, and we need shelter. Okay. Look around you. Habitats are everywhere. They're everywhere. Okay. And that concludes my presentation. Now we're going to move on to Ms. Stern. She's going to talk about food chains.
All right, I am going to talk about middle school food chains and food webs. Does anybody, before we get started, know what a food chain or a food web is?
Chain may be where you fall.
All right, so what do you have for me?
Food chain shows a flow of energy from the sun through the different organisms, like grass and animals that eat it and all.
All right.
And food web ties all the different food chains together.
Good. So I'm going to tie in the life science SOL that demonstrates that students will investigate and understand interactions among populations and biological community. So for example, the relationships among producers, consumers, and decomposers in food webs. Does anybody know what a consumer or a decomposer is? Or, go ahead.
Which one do you want me to
Whichever one.
Consumer is an animal that eats other animal.
All right, a consumer is an animal
Something else to get energy.
that eats something else to get energy. What about a producer? What do we typically see as producers? Anyone? Plants. All right, so talk with your shoulder partner. Everybody's pretty much paired up still. So we're going to use your shoulder partner, and I want you to answer the question, what energy roles do organisms play in an ecosystem? Somewhat just said some of the stuff, but if you will talk with your partner, and I'm going to give you guys a minute to do so, please.
You are prey for a predator. The energy that's in you that can pass on to
Bears or sharks or whatever aren't consumed by animals.
All right, good. I heard you guys talking amongst your partner or partners. Who would like to share something that they came up with? Miss Price?
producers capture energy from the sun and pass it along to the organisms that eat the plants.
All right, good. Anybody else? All right. So we have energy roles. We have a producer. It's an organism that makes its own food. Producers are the source of all the food in the ecosystem. Examples, as we said, were Mr. Ewing said, were plants. Plants are grass or trees. A consumer is an organism that obtains energy by feeding on other organisms, as Ms. Price said, and they are classified by the type of food that they eat. And a decomposer is an organism that breaks down waste and dead organisms and returns the raw materials to the environment. Examples of that would be bacteria or fungi. An example of a consumer could be a bird, a frog, something that's eating on that producer or along that food chain. Types of consumers. Does anybody know the types of consumers? Go ahead, Mr. Ewing.
Herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores.
And which one is the plant eater?
Herbivore.
A herbivore is a consumer that eats only plants. An example of that would be a caterpillar or a deer. Who can tell me what an omnivore is?
We are.
We are. Dr. Newman, what do you like to eat? All right, wings. So consumers eat plants and animals. So with those wings, you're going to have a salad, right? So you get that plant and animal in. So examples are crows and goats. And then a carnivore is an animal that eats meat, other animals. So lions and snakes. And a scavenger is a carnivore that feeds on the bodies of dead organisms. Who can name a scavenger for me?
A lot of times a crab.
A crab, a vulture. All right, good. So food chains. Food chain is a series of events in which one organism eats another and obtain energy. The first organism in the food chain is always a producer. The second is a consumer that eats the producer. And with that, we know that it would be the first level consumer. And we would have a second level consumer. That second level consumer would be something that eats the first level consumer. And then I have a picture of a food chain here. So in this picture of the food chain, we have a flower, which is going to be our producer. Then a frog, which is a consumer. The snake eats a frog, which is another consumer. And then the owl can eat the snake. So a food web consists of many overlapping food chains in the ecosystem, as Ms. Price said. They just shoot across from one another. And a food web consists of many interconnected food chains. The path of the energy can be traced through the producers, consumers, and decomposers. And then this is just an example of your food web. And you have your producers, your primary consumers, and your secondary and third consumers. All right, what I'm going to do for my student engagement is I'm going to have each one of you create a food chain. I'm going to provide you with construction paper, and I'm going to provide you with cutouts. We don't give our kids scissors, so they're already cut out for you guys. And then I will come around with glue. If you will just try and set these up in order in which you think the producer is, and then what type of, from the producer to the consumers. And then I will pass out glue sticks. So the materials that we used, as I said, we don't typically give our students scissors, so I went ahead and cut them out for you guys. Construction paper, the diagram, glue stick, and something to glue them onto. Oh. What did you say? And I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to do that. And when you have yours completed, if you can just raise your hand quietly, we're going to put the timer on for about 1.5 minutes. Looking good. And when you guys are done, if you have something to write with a writing utensil, you can just draw arrows if it's not in uniform order. Very nice. right, good. Looks like everybody pretty much has everything on paper. Who would like to share out their food chain with me and the whole group? Go ahead, Mr. Ewing. And if you don't mind, if you can stand up so I can get your blood flowing. And if you will tell them what your producer is and what your consumers are.
My producer is grass. My first level consumer is the grasshopper and goes to the, so this is second level? Okay, first level. Second level is the frog, moves up to the third level for the snake, and the fourth level is the eagle.
Good job, very good. Does everybody's look that way? When I was walking around, everybody seemed to have appeared to look that way. So remember, when we are using student engagement in the classroom, sometimes we have to change. Typically, in a normal school setting, they would let the students use scissors, but we typically try not to allow our students with scissors. But getting those students engaged and setting them with partners and allowing them to do hands-on activity gives the student engagement. Does anyone have any questions about food chains or food webs? All right, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Mr. Tooley for high school.
All right, thanks, guys. All right, so we're going to transition into high school. So it's going to be a little bit more advanced. This is something that all of you guys are probably somewhat familiar with in relation to plant versus animal cells. So as we're looking at them, there's a couple things we want to look at. We want to look at some of the similarities and differences. So I'm going to let you go ahead and read up there. I know you guys are all capable readers, and I have a little small handout for you guys. As you're just reading some of the pieces of information regarding a plant and animal cell. So you can see it's identifying some of those similarities and differences that they may have. Okay? So if you look through your packet on the back of the first page of your Venn diagram, you can see a description of each of the organelles and their functions. I have them here on the board, so we can look at them on the board and we could read them, but by giving you something in your hands, it's giving you something tangible that you can look at. Now we could also offer fill in the blanks with this, things of that nature, but I said for the sake of time, I don't want to keep you too long, I just want to get you to see something you could use or do. We can go through each of the descriptions, we could leave fill in the blanks, either for the organelle itself or within the definition of each organelle. And so I have 2 more slides of that as you're reading through those on your own page, or if you're looking up here. When you reach the last one, cytoplasm, just go ahead and raise your hand like this so I can tell that you're done. Miss Price, I see you. All right, so having had a chance to look over the organelles and their functions, okay, I have an example of what some plant and animal cell structures would look like. Okay, so you can see an example of this up on the screen. I have another example of an animal cell as well. And you can see some of those organelles that you just looked at, kind of what it might look like on a larger scale. And then you can also see the plant cell. Well, we want our kids to engage in the concept related to these, so we could have those fill in the blanks. We could have students group themselves together in any number of ways. We saw Miss Parker have students group together earlier by their interest between cats, dogs, and other types of animals. So we could have them do that. They could group by what month they were born in or by what day during the month. Any number of ways where they could group together to do some type of activity. Whether it's filling these out together, whether you want to have them do them on your own, that's your choice. But what I have for you guys today is you guys are going to make your own food-based cell. So you're going to look at splitting into 2 groups. Okay? How we're going to split into groups, we're going to split into groups based upon where you were born. Okay? So if you were born north of the Mason-Dixon line, I'd like you to come over here. If you were born south of the Mason-Dixon line, I'd like you to go and stand towards the back of the room. The southern border of Pennsylvania.
South of there.
The south is going to go over there. The north is going to come over here. All the better people are over here, I think.
I have to leave.
No, am I wrong? Okay. All right, so what I'm going to have you do, okay, because the north won, okay, and they're animals and they are consumers, they're going to eat the south in some way, shape, or form. So the north is going to be the animal cell and the south is going to be the plant cell, because we all know the north won when it came to the Civil War. Okay, so what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you make your plant or your animal cell within the group that you have aligned with based on where you were born, and you're going to use any of these items up here that you would like. I'm going to make a suggestion that the bread would make a good cell overall basis. You can use that and adjust it as you please. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 5 minutes. I'm going to offer you some hand sanitizer. Please use it. You can come up and grab some of these items and use them to make your own cell by using the description that has been provided for you and the pictures that you've seen and even have within your own paperwork. Yep, the south is the plant cell, the north is the animal cell. I'm going to put some paper towels down for you. Yeah, for each group. So if you just want to have one.
Somebody at my place, I got to go tutor, so you don't want to, because they're never going to leave the tutor.
Okay, that's fine. Just one per group. Just one per group.
Do you want bread? Do y'all want bread?
Compared to the size of bread that might have
Yes. I actually have one on that desk over there for you. If you guys need some more of anything, let me know.
We have big marshmallows, small marshmallows, some mint toast, some worms, jelly beans, nerds, Twizzlers.
These are nerd jelly beans.
You want this open? It's already open. I do this exact project in my class every year when I use biology. I use almost.
I love it. Oh, there was. I'm sorry, Parker. And here's a knife for you guys with the peanut butter, so you guys can spread your peanut butter.
I was thinking the other groups.
Would you guys like to pick a color?
Okay.
Purple? Okay. Would you guys like to pick a color?
Where's this one?
All right, blue it is.
Should we get a piece of paper so we can label what each thing is?
Yeah. I was going to have to do it on the back, or identify it right on the left. They could write what it is there. Where's my other one? Okay. give this to you guys. When you're done, you can write what you've used for each of these items on your paper next to it. You're enjoying eating more than you are doing that? The
I
actual
love
assignment.
Twizzlers.
Do you? Me too.
I've never had these big ones.
Oh, the Poland peel? Oh, yeah.
These are fun.
Marshmallow is like the biggest thing out by itself. And so we're going to have to let this be the nucleus, push over to the side.
I think it looks pretty good, Ms. Price.
What do we have?
I don't know that it's going to be 100%.
I don't know. Miss Price is doing it. I'm not sure. Actually, I'm probably a little more concerned about Miss Graham working on it.
Be careful what you say.
I usually use Play-Doh.
And y'all talking.
Here. Don't use that one.
All right, now, one thing I can think of to do is to actually
Put a
write
number
right
on it, yeah.
Oh, good idea. So,
Where's the sheet Miss Stern provided you guys? This one? You can write right next to these what you've chosen to be each of them.
oh,
That way you don't have to,
we don't have to write.
yeah,
on
you don't
the
have to worry
food?
about that, yeah. That way you don't have to write on the food.
All right. So let's see.
Twizzler is the ER.
Oh, you use the Twizzler as the R, huh? Okay. All right, all right. Funny thing is I actually bought this for the ER because you know there's the rough ER, so it's like the strands that have the.
I usually use these for the ER, and then I put the little tiny nerds connected to them.
Oh, okay.
And because the ribosomes can be connected to the ER, and they can be floating in the cytoplasm, so I have them put some attached to this and some in here.
I know I wasn't, but that's no, I wasn't. But I was saying I bought this like
Yeah,
pre-done
it's
so
like
that you could
pre-attached,
use it
I
for
see.
the ER.
It's pre-attached.
Yeah, I did. That's exactly why I bought it. And I was actually thinking Miss Price when I was getting it. I was like, Miss Price is gonna love that. I know Miss Price. Yeah.
Plastic matriculum is the
The Twizzler, Poland peel.
and that one is
And let's see. Chloroplast is basically the thread. And
what are these
then
cross things?
Yeah,
that's why I didn't know.
Yeah. All right, so once you're done with yours, I would like you guys to go over and use the Venn diagram to maybe do a compare and contrast of the two different cells. And maybe see what you see is consistent between the animal cell and the plant cell and what's different. Not in terms of what you use to make those items, but in terms of what each of them have. So you can look at your diagram. You have one of those every year. And I'm sitting here, I'm watching you do it, and I'm like, Miss Price, come on. You're killing me, Miss Price.
That is so well.
wall, and I've got that. That's the process. Okay. But the plant cell has the membrane. Okay.
Okay, so if you guys would, if we can have the north and the south switch, then you guys can take a look at each other's cell and see what you did, see what you labeled it as, and what items they used, and see if they maybe had a different idea at all. And this would be a point in time where you could use that Venn diagram to compare and contrast. Miss Price has already done that. Miss Price has already done that for us. She was working diligently as our resident biology expert. All right, once you're done, you can go back. Miss Price said the south one this time. Well, listen, thank you so much for participating in that. So, as you can see, Miss Price had filled out our Venn diagram, and you can see there were some consistencies and some differences that the two of them had. So there were some other ideas that I had seen out there in relation to this or other science projects. So I wanted to show you some so you could maybe have some ideas that you could connect with at your own level. They had a large life-size plant and animal cell they had next to one another. This person had created using lifesaver gummies and looked like some twisted corn peels. They created a spine. So I thought that was pretty unique. You can see some other plant cells here and animal cells. These are pretty involved. So pretty neat to see. There's a Lego cell that was here. And I thought this one was particularly neat, where they used the vegetables to create an actual person in their skeletal system. This one is actually my favorite though, because I love pizza. So I had to put this one up because I enjoy this one. And you can go ahead, this is something you guys can work on. Adjust things to the level of your students. So what we really want to see is, and we're really striving to do ourselves, and we know that it's really hard in this environment, we really want to try to engage the students in any number of ways that we can. We talk about grouping people by interests that they have, using hands-on activities. We can compare and contrast. The Venn diagram did that. You can use sticky notes. We did that in one of the previous professional developments. We talked about alternate hand raising. So rather than hand raising to get attention to say I have an answer, you could use hand raising to identify when you're done. And then that would let you know kind of what everybody's done overall. We can also use that if we need to get everybody back together. We talked about that on Monday. We used the phone timer. We also talked about talking with the shoulder partner. People that are not likely to talk out as much in a larger setting, when you have them share with the person next to them that they're comfortable with, which might be a reason for you to let them pick a partner that they want rather than just assigning partners. And we know that sometimes when you're doing that, that the kids in your class, they may actually take advantage of that in a negative way. We understand because we're doing it with you, but we want to give the kids an opportunity to engage where they might not. So if we give them that opportunity to be with somebody they're more comfortable with, that may actually help them engage in learning a little more. We realize that that's difficult, but continue to work on these things. We're working on it as well, just like you are. We know we work with a really difficult population at times, but it's our job to do what we can and find ways to engage them. If we know trying it one way doesn't work, then let's be professionals. Let's try it another angle and try to see if we can come at it from another side and see if that can get them engaged. It's not easy working, but I know you guys are working hard. I know you guys are doing a good job. I know sometimes if I have to come and ask a question to somebody, I've seen students engaged in each of your classes. I know Dr. Newman could say that as well. So please continue to work on these things. If you guys have ideas for us, let's continue to work together and share these ideas so we continue to be as effective as possible for our students. Do you guys have any questions on anything at all? Okay. So one last thing. In closing, if we can get you to think about an upcoming lesson that you know you're working towards as you're working your lesson plans for the next couple weeks, something within your pacing guide. What's one time where you think you can implement one of the things that we discussed into your classroom? So I'll give you guys a minute to think about that, maybe 30 seconds or so, and then I'll ask maybe each of you to go ahead and offer that up. All right, if you think you have something, just kind of give me a little hand raise or a nod of some sort. Dr. Newman?
I don't have any classes coming up. You can use this in any subject. The construct, the hands-on stuff you did with the making of the food or whatever. That could be a battle in history, it could be geography, it could be you could construct and add problems with literature, science, you just do the science one.
So how would you say using, what's a hands-on activity you would suggest in relationship to history?
Just like I said, if I wanted to map out the Battle of Gettysburg, you could do that on a piece of that CPU.
Okay.
How the one Confederate Union lines fell, or you could look at the geographic regions of Virginia. The pizza attracted me a little bit.
Pizza, you notice like on that? Pizza and wings, they go together, I guess. Okay, all right. Ms. Price, you had something?
Teachers is one of the first times when I had to work a lot, but I know we're doing so speed and happening speed and velocity. So you experiment of going on model and changing the height of the ramp or changing version to see how it does the speeds.
Okay, all right, that's a good idea. Did somebody else have anything? Okay.
We did the cell thing with cookies.
Oh, you did with cookies?
Nothing's good here.
Oh, really? How'd it go?
Sick.
It was good? Nice. Good job. All right. Listen, thank you guys so much for your time. We appreciate you coming out. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Thank you guys.
That's all.